Welcome everyone to a very special Gamereactor video. You thought I was going to say quick look, but this is not exactly a quick look, but because what we present to you here today is a quest to build a new streaming computer for the Gamereactor studio, which brings you streams every day from 1600 to 1800 hours CET here from Denmark.
Yeah, that's right. We're in talks with MSI and Cooler Master and HyperX.
Yeah.
And they basically sent us everything we need for another streaming computer.
Yes, a big one.
Yeah,
a powerful one.
It was time to upgrade.
Yes, it was.
So the time of RTX is here, and
it is.
We need to get in the game.
Yeah, so what you see before you is an array of different components that is set to go into this cabinet right here. What we will show you today is not a step-by-step assembly of it putting into the case, but basically just run you through what parts we've been sent and what they can actually do.
Yeah, this is not a tutorial, really.
No.
We're not gonna verge it up here.
No.
So
there are plenty of other alternatives for that.
Yeah.
We basically wanted to show you.
We don't have a Swiss Army knife to assemble this.
No.
This time around,
No. But we thought we wanted to give a shout out to the parts that we have in front of us here, and maybe give you like a little sneak preview at what will go into this case and what will fuel the streams to come.
Yeah. And then at the end of the video, we'll have it fully assembled. And,
yeah, of course, we will be able to show you all this. Yes.
That is, if we don't burn it all down while getting there. But let's start with the motherboard, which is the X299 motherboard, which handily enough came with our processor already in the board, since we're getting it from sent from MSI.
Oh, so which processor are we talking about here?
The processor that we have in here, actually, and if you zoom in, it actually says Intel Confidential, because this is a pre-release of a 7th gen processor.
Oh, right.
But it is the 78020X, which is made for, media content creators and multiple workflows and stuff. So,
so old but powerful.
Yeah.
So no, there's not an 8th gen i7 CPU or even an i9 or something like that in there. But what we have run some preliminary tests, and it does show that CPU should be able to give us the returns on the benchmarks that we're looking for.
It is a base of 3.6 gigahertz, and can be overclocked up to 4.3, I think.
Well, that sounds all right, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, how many cores is there in there?
It's 8 cores, 16 threads.
Well, that is just all right, isn't it? I actually haven't heard about the X version, but maybe that's because it was, marketed at a different audience at the time, content creators and the like. So this, the motherboard, the X299, sent to us directly from MSI with a CPU in there. That's pretty handy.
It supports 8 DIMM slots. We're gonna fill up 4 of them.
We're gonna fill 4.
But we are gonna multi-thread.
Yes.
So we have 32 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
In total.
Yeah.
But we are gonna set it up for 4-channel.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to another part.
Yes, which is
the graphics card.
The graphics card here. This is the MSI RTX 2080.
Yes.
More specifically, if I read right on here somewhere.
Is there a name dedicated to this?
The Gaming X Trio.
Yeah, and Trio, because there is 3 dedicated Frosser fans right here. Because MSI, what we have found through extensive testing over the course of the past few years, is that especially MSI's cooling, the Frosser solutions they put on their graphics cards are pretty much best in class.
Yeah, cooling and sound.
So
you're not sacrificing sound for
No. The decibels should be, and you should also remember that when we're building a streaming computer, it is right there, almost next to a lot of the microphones and stuff that we need in order to run a successful show. So having something which is not as loud as other graphics cards can be is a really good thing for us.
For RAM, we're going for the HyperX.
That's DDR4.
Yeah, DDR4,
3600 megahertz.
Yeah.
So,
and it's 4 times 8 gigabytes.
Yeah. So we're only going to use half of the slot. So we could ostensibly later on go all the way. Up to 64. However, in this current climate, even for something that doubles for streaming and for very hardcore gaming, there's really not a lot of need for 64 gigabytes unless for like heavy content creation. So we're very happy with the 32 supplied to us here in the beginning.
For cooling, we have the Master Liquid ML240R RGB, because we're going full RGB with this.
Look at this. Yeah. This is just insane.
Yeah, so this is closed loop water cooling.
Yes.
So, you know, we don't need to set up the fittings and stuff ourselves, but we still get the benefit of liquid cooling.
We'll of course show you all of this in a full sort of roundabout lit sequence later on in this video, where you can see how this closed loop water cooling RGB lit cooling system is actually how it works.
You actually get a remote to control the lights as well. But also from Cooler Master we got the V850 modular power supply. Which means that it's 850 watts, but also modular, meaning that it's not just a giant cable coming out that turns into an octopus and you're only using, you know, one third of it. So here you actually, you know, choose which cables you actually need to use, which means that after we open the box, after we open the box, I'm gonna have to kind of organize what we're actually gonna be using.
What do you have over there?
For hard drive.
Oh, and hard drive.
Yeah, we have a 960 gigabyte SSD. From HyperX as well.
Just an NVMe, solid state drive.
No, just a normal SSD.
Yeah, right. But what I'm seeing, Dóri, here is RGB as well. So almost all of these components, even the RAM themselves, have specific dedicated RGB backlighting, meaning that we're going to see a light show of unlike anything you've ever seen before, unlike anything I've ever seen before in this case.
Yeah, and of course, it's all going into this case, which is the Mastercase H500P, which, if you look at the front here, giant fans on the front, which I presume completely light up as well.
What are those fans? What are they fanning?
Giant. I mean, they are providing airflow into the case.
Well, there's individual cooling on a bunch of these things, or individual fans on a lot of them, so it's just extra airflow.
Yeah, but for example, the fans from the power supply, from the
cool system,
the cooler, is blowing out. And it needs to draw air from somewhere. That's where you use these. You draw air in, and then
there's also one here. Towards the back. So a pretty extensively, you know, airflow-based case. However, this is something we're planning to run every single day for a lot of hours. So I think we should, you know, err in the light of caution and, you know, have two major. But that looks like sort of an industrial kind of airflow system at the front there, and which, you know, it's not a subtle case, I'll give you that, but, you know, we don't have to look at it all that much.
But now all that's left, I think, is that we cut to a short little montage of me assembling, maybe with a little voiceover every now and again of some little helpful hints and tips. But
so give us the highlight story of how you assembled this.
And let's do that now.
Boom.
As we put on the thermal paste, a lot of people like to slather it on, but you need to, if you put too much, it's going to run out the edges and not gonna do your hardware any favors. So just a little bit right in the middle, and then when you put on the cooler, move it around just a little bit to spread it. Oh, and of course we need to remove all this nice plastic film. And here we go, ready to mount. Now, of course, there is a lot more to set up with the CPU cooler. We have the control module here that we're gonna have to run everything through, but we're gonna hook that up as we put everything into the machine. But so we're gonna move on to the RAM. Now, it's very important, because we want the quad channel memory, that we put them in the correct order, and they all have names, so it's important that you put them into all the odd numbered slots. And here that is number 1, 3. So start that up. Line up the little slot here. Push it in for the click. The second one goes into the third slot. And then here on the other side, because there are so many DIMM slots on this motherboard, but for that one, we're putting it into number 3. So the second one and the fourth one. There we go. And then we move on to the graphics card, which we want to put it into the very first slot. The box. There we go. And then, of course, we need power for everything. And for that, we're going to open up the Cooler Master V850 and sort out which cables we're actually going to be using. With the mouse and keyboard plugged in, we have our processor, cooler, RAM, graphics card, power supply, everything plugged in. We got light, so now let's cross fingers and see if it posts to BIOS. And I believe we have BIOS. Do you see that on the camera there? Yeah. So we have the CPU, it's running at 3.6 gigahertz. Lanes, yes. Let's check the memory. Yes, that is all as it should be. Have no storage, and of course the fan info is, well, we don't have the fan fully running, so we're gonna quit out, close it down. And now it's just a question of course, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we've kind of skipped over here. Specifically, you know, getting the Kingston SSD all hooked up with one of these cables. But like I said, we're gonna get it all into the case, and we'll be right back with it all lit up, and we'll do some benchmarks. And there we go, fully assembled. So the only thing left now is to plug it in and see if it still posts, and of course if all the lights light up. Plug in my keyboard here. Mouse. Okay, moment of truth. First of all, does the power button work? It does. It's starting up. Everything. Oh, we're missing a light on the top fan here. Everything else seems to be in order. Yep, so here we are in the BIOS. We have our CPU being read correctly. Memory all in the right slots. Running at the correct megahertz. Now it's time to actually install Windows and install all the drivers for all the stuff. So and see if we can get that fan running with some fan angling. But I do believe that it might be a loose cable that I loosened as I was setting it up. That means opening it up again and stuff, which I'm hoping to avoid. So we're gonna install Windows and all the drivers and get this puppy rolling. So we'll be right back with that.
And now here we are again, a day after the main build. You spend the entire day basically putting all this stuff together.
The day on building it, and then we let it update because it was all these Windows updates. Yeah. Let that run overnight. Yeah. We did benchmarking and stuff that we're going to talk about in a little bit. And basically here we have the machine.
This is pretty exciting, isn't it? Because it was quite, quite an ordeal. I could hear you sort of slightly moaning when stuff, wasn't really working, or you were attempting to get stuff working, but ultimately I think you did an amazing job, and in Gamereactor Blue as well.
Yes, like I haven't built a PC from the ground up in over a year or two, and things are moving so fast. Like the little remote, as I refer to it, for the cooler master, it's not a remote, it's a control node.
Oh, it's the control node,
which sits inside the box. Yeah. So that took me a little bit to figure out. Also opening up the cooler, finding out all the fittings, and I need to go through the directions, which fitting am I using for this specific motherboard, and stuff like that. And all these cables, like not using this one, not using this one, not
So was it more a more extensive job than you were expecting it to be when you began?
A little bit, but the thing is, if you just lay out the instructions and you follow them, it's like building a Lego set.
So if just to completely reiterate and keep people refreshed, what is this machine going to be used for now?
So this is our new stream machine, and that's why we built it with these components to fit our needs. We didn't set out to build the biggest monster PC on the market that could do everything in 4K 60 frames. That would be nice, but that's not what we need it for. What we need it is to run everything on Ultra in 1080p. We need ray tracing, we need it to be cool, we need it to be silent, and able to do multitasking, gaming and streaming at the same time.
Right, I get it.
And that is exactly what we got.
I do think that it looks very good, and it's very spacey in there, which I think is going to be very nice. And the two massive fans on the front, hopefully, and also the one on the back, hopefully will keep everything steady and cool. Because remember, for a streaming machine, its most important task is the length of time it will have to run at a time. Because we pretty much start it when we get in here, we pretty much keep it on until we leave, which is a long period of time every single day for this machine to run. So hopefully everything will stay nice and cool, and will we be following up this in any way?
Yeah, I mean, we'll make some more videos down the line, but of course this will be sitting in our live stream studio, where we live stream every single day.
So you'll be able to see the power of it through our live streams every single day, from 1600 to 1800 hours from Monday to Friday.
And of course, a big shout out to MSI, Cooler Master, and HyperX for getting us all the stuff here. Of course, with the MSI Gaming Trio X 2080 card, with the motherboard. And of course, using XPM to get the RAM up to 3600 megahertz. And we have, of course, a lot of people would say, well, why don't you have two hard drives, one for gaming, one for storage? Well, this is only for gaming. We install the game, we play it, then we delete it, and we install the next one. So having everything on a quick SSD, which is 960 gigabytes, which is plenty for our needs.
I would say so as well. Exactly if we wanted a good old-fashioned SATA,
I mean,
would we be able to do that?
Yeah, we have a drive bay for SATA drives further down the line if we need it.
But I do think that's fine. What we need everything to be for now is snappy.
Yeah, and of course, if we just go through the benchmarks real quick. I mean, we were hitting in the upper 10th percentile everywhere that we were looking, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, and quickly, in 3D benchmark, in TimeSpy, we were getting a score of 10,936, while in TimeSpy Extreme, 4,990, Port Royal, 6029, and on and on. Deus Ex, we were getting a 1080p 98.9 frames per second. In 4K, about 40 frames per second. But, that may be because Deus Ex is not quite optimized well enough for 4K.
Yeah.
And also, like I said, we're not going to be gaming in 4K on this.
No. And it's also, Mankind Divided especially is notoriously known for being a frame rate killer.
Yeah. In Far Cry 5, we're getting 104 frames in 1080p, while 56 in 4K.
That's okay.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, 1080p, we were getting 72 frames per second and 42 frames per second in 4K. But what is most impressive is the actual temperatures that we were seeing.
Yeah.
Because on the CPU, we were seeing a minimum of 42, max of 79, which is maybe in
the higher
part.
79 is high, but still, you know, we're in the ranges where we don't really have any sort of risk of thermal throttling, so I do think we'd be good on that part.
But that's also at 3.6 gigahertz, and we didn't try turbo boosting. We can turbo boost 2 cores up to 4.5 gigahertz.
Okay.
But we'll try that as needed.
Yes.
The GPU, we were getting a minimum of 32, maximum of 66.
Well, that's all right, isn't it?
Yeah. But the main thing here is one thing that was very important to us was noise. Because, like I said, it's going to be in our live stream studio, right next to the microphone where we're playing. And Cooler Master, this case, and the liquid cooling, like, a lot of people think, oh, liquid cooling, that takes a lot of bending and you need to set up reservoirs and stuff. But with a built-in kit like this Cooler Master cooler, where it is just plug and play, works with RGB, you plug it in, you never need to drain it, never need to fill it, and it is super silent.
Well, that's really good.
Yeah.
So again, you won't actually be seeing this machine all that much, but we will be playing on it almost every day as we run all of the games that we can through our daily live streams from Monday to Friday, from 1600 to 1800 hours through PC, as many of them as we can if we want to show them in their best possible sort of scenario. So you will be experiencing this with us, but this is not it. We will still be putting these benchmarks up. We will also be following up, not in the immediate future, but somewhere down the line. We will of course be, touching base with the machine, see how you feel about it after streaming with it for a while, and hopefully we'll be able to give you some more impressions by then.